Morning, everyone. We're just going to wait for a minute to let the attendees log in, and then we will be starting the session. So, Honorable Textile Commissioner, Ms. Ruprashi ma'am, distinguished panelists, webinar participants, and proponents of sustainability, a very good morning to all. My name is Abhishek Jani, and I head the Fairtrade India project. On behalf of the organizers, Center for Social Markets, Fairtrade India project, and Fiber to Fashion, it is my privilege to welcome you all to the webinar, Sustainability in Action, Exploring Circularity and Sustainable Solutions in the Textiles Industry. This webinar has been organized with the support of the Switch Asia program of the European Union government, working on United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 12. The goal is aimed at supporting a transition to sustainable production and consumption practices across Asia and the world. To provide some context, I would like to share a brief introduction about the organizers of this webinar. Center for Social Markets is a not-for-profit organization working to create a more environmentally, socially, and economically sustainable society. Its main areas of focus include promoting sustainable agriculture, climate action, and responsible business practices. CSM is undertaking several programs to promote sustainability in food and textile sector in India. Fairtrade India project is associated with the Fairtrade International Network and is a sustainable and ethical platform for consumers, institutions, businesses, and pharma organizations in India. In the textile sector, working across the value chain from farm to factory, Fairtrade India promotes the adoption of sustainability practices and the sourcing of sustainable Fairtrade certified raw material. And finally, Fiber to Fashion has been a forerunner serving as a single-stop solution for the textile, apparel, and fashion industry, carving a niche for over 2 decades. With a strong global presence and widespread reach in the industry, Fiber to Fashion is a world leader in facilitating businesses with critical and accurate industry information, innovative brand-building solutions, as well as market research insights for the textile industry. Fiber to Fashion is a name synonymous as a knowledge disseminator that delivers exactly what matters to the industry and businesses in the textile industry. So it has been really exciting to work in this partnership and collaborate to bring together this webinar on promoting sustainability. The textiles industry has been coming under growing scrutiny for its environmental and social impact. Factors such as growing consumer awareness, accelerating climate change, the effects of which are visible to all, increasing regulations for the industry in international markets and in India, new reporting requirements on environmental, social, and governance reporting, or better known as ESG reporting, and business responsibility and sustainability reporting, or known as BRSR reporting in India, are all prompting a call for faster and greater implementation of sustainability practices in the textile industry. So keeping a focus on this need for transition and a need for the textile industry to implement practical business case-led sustainability solution, this webinar has been organized. During this webinar, industry pioneers, leading sustainability practitioners, textile manufacturers, and sustainability innovators will provide practical insights and solutions on sustainability in action. To achieve this transition towards greater sustainability, all stakeholders need to play a proactive role. And on its part, the Government of India and all the state governments are key stakeholders to accelerate the adoption of sustainability practices. So to inaugurate the webinar, we have a message from the Honorable Textile Commissioner of India, Ms. Ruprashi ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for addressing this gathering.
Hey, everybody. I'm happy to be part of this webinar on sustainability in action, exploring circularity and sustainable solution in the textile industry. I've been requested to put the context wherein how do we in India look at sustainability and what are the perspectives government and the textile value chain has on the issue. Before getting into the subject, I would like to just have few pointers for all the participants here. As would be aware, textile represent a domain which meets not only our basic and safety needs, but also esteem needs of humanity, if we go to the Maslow's hierarchy of human needs pyramid. In fact, the modern industrial revolution owes itself to Spinning Jenny by James Hargreaves in 1764. And hence, textiles are at the foundation of modern market-led production, consumption, and the modern state, which is constantly evolving in search of balance and fair market play. However, like other modern industries, more demand has also resulted in adversely impacting the environment, like other industrial developments. And hence the concern which may impinge on sustainability on the planet for the enterprise and for the world. Some of the alarms which we keep listening to, I thought it is worthwhile to repeat them. World Bank study says that textile industry is responsible for 20% of the global water pollution. UNEP poses issue to 9% of microplastic pollution. UNFCCC reviews 1.2 billion tons of greenhouse gases world over are attributable to textiles. UNEP also looks at 8,000 chemicals which we use, of which in the textile value chain, we are aware of only 20% and their effects. UNIDO estimates 5 million tons of chemical usage in India, including salts, dyestuffs, etc. Ellen MacArthur has discomfort with loss of value by increase and less use volumes. Fashion for Good estimated 8.5% of textile waste accumulation in India. The apparel industry also has a high consumption rate of plastic, using 342 million barrels of petroleum, equating to 1.35% of global consumption, to create synthetic fibers used in clothes, that is polyester and nylons. Of the 32 billion garments that are produced each year, 64% end up in landfill. We have certain interesting imaginations which also alarm to us that every 7 minutes, an equivalent of Mount Everest in height of clothes is thrown in landfills. So if you stack 12 months worth of fashion landfill, it would reach 613,000,000 meters high. Now, these alarms are only to underline that the problems are there and we need constant multi-pronged approach to contend. Not that one has to feel defeated in front of these challenges. Before going to address the problems, I would like to say that it is important to understand the complexity of manufacturing process of textile value chain. My esteemed colleagues on the webinar may know more deeper, more wider and historical approach. However, few of the basic things which I would like to underline before we get into, and I expect other panelists to add on to the problem solution paradigms. We use various fibers, natural and man-made. We have a long value chain from farm to final good. We have industry which is spread in clusters in case of India specifically, which is historically grown. The margins at each point are either thin or are dependent on the previous point. The cost variables have technology as a very, very high cost element. We have energy cost from manufacturing to logistics, which add on to the load on the system. Wage cost, which is important factor in production and hence importance of how we use our human resource in the process. Demand of basic need is continuing to grow. Yesterday, we had one spiritual leader to our Chintan Shiva, and he also underlined that this is a sector where demand is not going to go down. Now, within that 0.5% increase year on year of the population, even at the basic level, we will need a certain volumes to be continued to be produced. And hence, it is the distribution of demand, supply chain variables, and value return variables that would play a crucial role in changing dynamics of the benefits as well as harms to humanity. In case of India, and I'm sure wherever we are getting into value added, textiles remain one of the largest livelihood support providers also, second only to agriculture. In this problematic, we should look at it that due to wage cost differential, there has been a historical shift of production from developing to the lower developed countries. And herein the problem of sustainability of enterprise also comes up. This also would underline the obligations on the part of various stakeholders when we have to address the cost of changing the processes for overall improvement. Before I go to the responsible production as a problematic, which is part of our sustainable development goal, in my view, what is required to look at a responsible production hovers around water management and energy management and people management. These are obviously being packaged as differential performance indicators through ESG. However, how do we perceive and operationalize it for our textile industry, which is reasonably medium, small, and micro enterprise for India? On the demand side, markets need to achieve transparency, demand pull for these global concerns, and how do we incentivize recycling, EPRs, that is extended producer obligations, responsibilities, and maybe even getting into extended consumer responsibilities. The challenges for textile value chain in terms of decarbonization, desalinations, look at two aspects. One is the input management, whether it is water, chemicals, energy. Two, how to treat output, which is water, again, chemicals, recycling, upcycling, logistic, end of life management, etc. Some of these changes are fairly capital intensive and hence require deployment of resources. And when it comes to deployment of resources, I look up to partnership from the industry, from the financial systems, from the institutional support to ensure that textile value chain remains sustainable and is on the right path of responsible production. The questions would be whether one size would fit all. Is reducing volume enough? Or is it important to make process more efficient? Making the process more efficient needs to be combined with maybe recouping, recycling, or reuse till the end of garment. All these words are oft repeated in a lot of webinars. But do we really internalize them? Not only webinars, a lot of interactions. How do we take it forward from our respective positions, whether it is governance, regulation, or the industry? We do have positive green shoots. We are seeing that there is a shifting consumer sentiment. There have been studies by Deloitte as well as by McKinsey, which show that the next generation is more amenable to look at responsible production and would like to ask more questions before going into reckless consumerism. It is also heartening to see that brands are themselves getting into renewable energy sources, zero waste, reducing transport emissions, prioritizing electric, non-renewable energies, prioritizing green certification, etc., etc. Though unfortunately, in some of the cases, we did come across some of the greenwashing. So we need to up our vigilance as service providers to be ensured that in the name of giving a sustainably produced, a responsibly produced product. One is not just trying to achieve a certification, because certifications are means to an end and not the end themselves. Now, what we need to do is an opportunity for creating enabling and facilitative ecosystem through the brand pull. We need to, if there is any increase in cost, then I would look forward to the sourcing brand to take care, because it is not possible that all the ancillarization units can on their own convert all the processes as desired in this, specifically now when the demand scenario is low. The reinvestment opportunities require a lot of support. In India case, at macro level, we have already taken positions on climate change. We have at the national level 8 missions, and our Honorable Prime Minister has also launched Mission Life Cycle for Environment in 2022. Why I mention it is that the green certificates, green credits, which are being thought of by our allied ministry, we look forward that our industry should be able to use it well, basis their good water usage or better energy usage in the process. At policy level, we look at various action from the Ministry of Textiles. It is to look at if there could be, we could facilitate incentivize credit for responsible production covering water use, energy, chemical efficient processes, by looking at supporting the processing segment of the textile industry. At program implementation level, we are trying to engage with center, state, even local governments to look at how to mainstream the concerns in textile production. We also look forward to interface with regulatory incentives, even the financial sector incentives, in terms of obligatory use of under ESGs. We look for innovative finance in approaches with World Bank. We started some work on possibilities of looking at wastewater reuse also, so that it adds on to the balance sheet of the producing unit and enables them to, it enables a more responsible unit to get better returns from a very, from all the initiatives they take to augment or contribute to the sustainable production. We also look at advocacy. On supply side, we look at raw material efficacy through regenerative and innovative material sourcing. Now, we look at that it should not be just a limited thing of recycling a product. I need to look at it that whatever fiber we are using, whether it is natural or man-made, whether it does help at the form level or at the process level, we can make the process more compliant to the concerns of environment. Regenerative farming methods would help promote climate change mitigation and adoption. Following some of the practices which we also have in our real code for cotton can restore the balance for the land. We also are looking forward to alternative source of fibers. Though they would be small in quantity, we need to see that how do they help the industry get remunerative returns, maybe through a niche market. We look forward to biotechnological advances wherein fiber can be taken out from the waste. We can take out dyes from the waste. We are also looking at Himalayan fibers. We are looking at recouping dyes from the product. We are looking at, so these are all what we, when I say, these are a kind of combined effort at various levels. Our textile research institutions are working. Our textile industry is working, can we synergize our effort on R&D to actually translate it for the returns for the value chain. Another issue which we would look forward is how do we bring in more process efficiency? On one side, we look at integrating the processes and making our Mitra Park as more climate efficient zones, which is obviously the big dream. However, can we do something about our existing clusters in terms of facilitation of efficient technology, wet processing, getting into ZGSC compliances, waterless dyeing, saltless dyeing, maybe even getting into systems of washing in a way with new nitrogen chamber-based indigo dyeing, maybe something which Bharpa Atomic Research has also done is through a nanofiltration technology, wherein we can actually try to reach even hopefully a potable water after treating the textile effluents. The critical factor, we need to ensure that our labor is required for sustainability of enterprise. On the brand side, we see that brands are prioritizing their workers' right. From our side also, from the governance side also, we are also looking at that we could have frameworks like where the same data can be shared and they can be rating through a calibration, maybe something like we had discussions with Texprosil and others on how to make SLCP, the factory certifications, etc., less costly and more sustainable for a long value chain. Now, in terms of use of digitalization from spinning to manufacturing, can be designed to reduce waste? Again, this will be part of input management. Can we get into collection and recycle? We look at collection recycle as hopefully also generating a lot of micro enterprises, tying up with urban local bodies. It can actually give a lot of livelihood options. We can have assurance of the processes through a lot of certifications. Now, certifications, I do have certain issues in terms of it should not be becoming a service generator for service sector, but it should feed in for our textile industry. Through textile committee, one of our agencies, we have trained more than 24,000 personnel to enable entities get into environmental aspects. And I'm told that the same personnel or liaising with more institutes, we can make more of our entities scope 3 compliant. On the demand side, what we do, what you do, what all of us do, maybe we started with UNEP, we are doing with UNIDO, is looking at a demand which is not unrealistic, at the same time, which looks at not high end of consumerism, but more sustainable and responsible production. Circularity is a word which should also come out of its intellectual domain. And we should help our small and medium enterprises to look at how they can make their processes in the value chain, and primarily from fiber to fiber circularity, how can we involve them? Internationally, we have market innovations in terms of rental fashion, second-hand market. I'm sure our new generation itself is pretty high on it, and maybe governance need not really get into it. One is seeing a healthy use of media, social media by new generation for reducing the volumes that are produced by getting into pre-loved kind of domain. So I would like to sign off with some commitments to ourselves, and I would look forward from other speakers that we all need to commit to the idea. Now, we don't need to debate the idea. We need to commit resources. We need to commit to betterment of human resources. We need to commit to collaboration on technology. We need to facilitate credit flow, financial, institutional support for this change, and across the value chain. For sustainability of value chain, integrating sustainability of enterprise. Today only we had a discussion with GIZ Germany to look at sustainability definition and adoption for specific concerns, even in India. So I believe that we need to find our solutions, and hopefully our solutions will supplement and integrate with global solution in all letter and spirit. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Ruprashi ma'am, for your encouraging and supportive message. Indeed, it is with your leadership and the leadership of the government that the industry will be able to undertake a faster adoption, sustainability solutions. And I dare say India could become a global leader and a global hub for sustainable textiles manufacturing. And we will now move over to the next session. So over to Shilpi from Fiber to Fashion.
We now move to our next session on green and circular energy solutions in textiles. Energy use is a significant cost for all stages of textiles and apparel production. And in this session, we will learn about solutions for reducing energy use, as well as how green energy solutions can be implemented in the textile sector. I would like to invite the session chair, Mr. Ganesh Anantharaman, along with the panelists for the session, Ms. Dhwani Sunku and Mr. Ajay Balachandran. Mr. Ganesh Anantharaman is the founder and managing partner of SAGS Apparels. SAGS Apparels is a sustainable textile company from Tirupur, Tamil Nadu, committed to socially and ecologically compatible production that prioritizes of well-being of both people and the environment. Welcome, sir. Next, we have on the panel Mr. Ajay Balachandran, Regional Manager, Energy Efficient Promethean Energy. Promethean Energy is an innovation-based company in energy striving to provide breakthrough solutions for waste heat recovery in industrial and commercial applications. Our final panelist is Ms. Dhwani Sunku, Head of Business Development, Growth and Partnership at USolar. USolar Clean Energy Solution is a solar developer in India that provides complete solar solutions, power solution for industrial, commercial, institutional, and residential clients. Over to you, Mr. Ganesh.
Namaste, Vanakkam. Greetings and welcome audiences for webinar on sustainability in action, exploring circularity and sustainable solution in textile industry by Fairtrade India and Center for Social Markets team in partnership with Fiber to Fashion. So let's go to the topic. So basically, the textile industry is the most polluted industry in the world. But it's time for all of us to act and change now by proving that fashion industry does not need to be polluting or exploiting, but can create positive effect by switching to green and clean energy and other sustainable steps. Overall, in India, all the industries and factories consumes more than 45% of electricity supply in India. About 600 million Indians are dealing with high extreme water stress, wherein over 40% of annually surface water is used every year. So, I'd like to give you a short intro about our company, SAGS Apparels. So, SAGS Apparels is the first LEED Platinum certified green building in India under existing building category. So, we are the first factory to certify Fairtrade textile standard, and also we are the first factory in Tirupur, India to certify cradle to cradle gold standard. So, for our sustainable achievements, we have got German Sustainable Award on 2020, along with our customer Brands Fashion GmbH. So, basically, 90% of our product is 100% organic and Fairtrade products. So, here are some of the highlights, what we, do in our green factory. So basically, in our factory, we have reducing the water use by 53%, reduction in water use by 53%. So this we achieve by, making efficient water fixtures and installing, pressure reducer valves and in various other fixed activities. In our factory, we have 60% of energy we getting from solar. So, and in our factory, we are reducing carbon emission by 98%. Like we are saving like 13.2 metric tons of CO2 emission every year. So basically, we have 5,000 square feet of land scale in our rooftop, which can promotes biodiversity and water hydrology. Basically, we in our factory, we give green education to all the employees, to how to get reduce the reduction in water use, and how to store, how to harvest the rainwater, how to make the waste management. So we have given a lot of green education to all our employees. So basically, it is making the green factories not only for our, not only for sack suppliers. It is basically, taking back to the societies. In our factory, we have 400 employees working with us. So by teaching the green education to all the employees, they can able to, make the changes in their daily life. Like how to, protect the water, how to save the water, how to save the energies, how to, harvest the rainwaters, and even, like how to increase the biodiversity, because basically most of the people, wants to plant ornamental and, hybrid trees and plants. So in our factory, we have planted only, native plants and trees, which can promote biodiversity and water hydrology, so there are various things, it is not only that the green education gives a lot of, changes in their daily life. So these are some of our certifications. We have, GOTS Fairtrade, Fair Textile Standard, Amphori and Lead Platinum, and Grad to Gravel Gold and OKTech certified. So, welcoming our next speaker, Mr. Ajay Balachandran, Regional Manager, Energy Efficiency at Promothon Energy. Promothon Energy is an innovative-based company in energy striving to provide breakthrough solutions for waste heat recovery in industrial and commercial applications. Thank you. Handing over to Mr. Ajay Balachandran.
Thank you, Ganesh sir. I'll be just sharing my screen now. Yeah, hope everybody can view my screen. Yeah. So, hi all, I'm Ajay Balachandran. So, I'll be handling this session on sustainable thermal opportunities in textile units. So, why is thermal energy very important for a textile unit is that when you look at it overall, about 30% of total energy which an industry, a textile industry uses is thermal energy. So if you are able to put up an efficient and sustainable thermal energy producing unit, you will be able to lower the cost and reduce your overall processing cost by about 10%, which is a large amount when you compare it with the small scale and the medium scale industry. So some of the benefits what you have are, you have economic savings, you will be getting multiple, once you start implementing the system, you'll be able to save a lot of resources, as a result of which you'll be able to reinvest it in multiple other opportunities. Again, you'll be optimizing your entire facility, and thereby you'll also have a better production. You'll also lower your carbon footprint, and also you'll be becoming more socially responsible. You're meeting all the energy and emission regulations given by the departments, and also you're contributing to a long-term sustainability solutions. So there are multiple solutions which can help you out with this. But today we will be only looking at a few solutions, which are dyeing effluent heat recovery system, heat recovery from air compressors, standard heat recovery system, heat pumps, and steam trap monitoring system. So we'll start with the dyeing effluent heat recovery system. So traditionally what happens is that there is a boiler and it generates a lot of steam, which in turn is used to generate hot water, and it is sent into a dyeing unit. So in a dyeing unit, it is used for a batch process. Maybe for 3 to 4 hours, they use it at a very high temperature. They discharge it into a ETP plant, or they try to discharge it somewhere. So what happens is that a lot of hot water is being wasted in this while discharging it. So what happens is that when you put up a heat recovery system after the discharge of the dyeing unit, you can easily recover the waste heat and you can reutilize it to heat your dyeing unit. So what happens is that you are recovering the waste heat and you are adding additional heat to the dyeing unit. As a result of which, what happens is that you are lowering the fuel consumed by your hot water generation system, which might be a boiler or a hot water generator, whatever it may be. You're lowering the fuel consumption by 20 to 30%. And apart from that, the discharge temperature is also reduced. So you'll be receiving it around 45 to 50 degrees. So what would be the approximate saving if you use it? I'll be showing it in the next slide. So this is just a general system, what we have installed it in a large process plant, textile plant in central India. So just show you an approximate saving of what is going to happen. For example, you have a requirement of 75,000 liters of hot water in a day, and you're discharging the same quantity. What if you recover it? What happens is that, assuming you have 3 rupees per kg of steam, which is the cost, you are assuming the case, you will be able to save about 35 lakh of rupees per year just by recovering the waste heat from your dyeing unit discharge. So the ROI would be approximately 1 to 2 years if you're using the system. So this is just one example. It varies based on the amount of hot water which is being discharged from your dyeing unit. So some benefits what after implementing this system is, again, your fuel cost would reduce because you are saving 20 to 30% of the energy, fuel heating energy. You are lowering your carbon footprint. Again, the ETP temperature, the water which you are sending to the ETP is also lower. Again, additional benefit is that your production time will also reduce because since we are reheating it with the existing water, hot water from your dyeing unit, you will be saving about 5 to 10 minutes per batch. So that is a large saving for you. And next is air compressor heat recovery system. So air compressors are massive heat sinks, heat loads. So what happens is that about 60% of the energy what you're giving to an air compressor is discharged as heat energy. Especially in the oil circuit of the air compressor, there's a massive amount of heat load in there. So what happens is that when you put up a heat recovery system on the oil line and recover it, you will be recovering massive amounts of heat energy from the air compressor. For example, if your air compressor is using 100 units per hour of electrical energy to run it, with a heat recovery system, you can easily recover 60 to 70% of the heat energy from the air compressor and use it to generate hot water. This is one of the installations what we have done in a textile industry in India. So I'll just give you a small calculation of how much energy can be saved and what would be your savings because of this. So the installation was on a 160 kilowatt air compressor, which was running for 24 hours a day. So with the heat recovered, we are able to generate about 2200 liters an hour of hot water, which is being heated from 30 to 70 degrees, which is equivalent to generating 150 kg of steam in an hour. Assuming the steam cost is 2 rupees, so per year you'll be saving about 20 lakhs, which is having a return of investment less than 1 to 1.5 years. This particular system, you can install it in any air compressor, whether it is Atlas Copco, Kaser, CP, Ingersoll Rand, Solar, or LG. And another product solution would be Stentor heat recovery system. So Stentor systems discharge a large amount of heat energy. So if you put up a heat recovery system on its exhaust and use it to preheat the Stentor, it will also help you to recover 20 to 30% of energy just by preheating it. So currently we are piloting a project. So I can update you the results maybe in a couple of months. So the benefits are, one, this particular system would be advisable if you have about 100 to 1000 to 3000 meter cubed of exhaust air. If it is available, we can use this. Then again, these systems are designed so that it is resistant to dust and fabric particles, also designed to prevent any oil deposition, and also maintenance friendly to help the end user to clean and maintain. So we are expecting the ROI to be less than 2 years for this project. So heat pumps are a product which is used for simultaneous heating and cooling. So heat pumps work basically on a refrigeration cycle. So they're just like our air conditioning systems. For example, in our office or in our homes, we have AC units, right? So the outdoor unit gives us heat energy while the indoor unit gives us cold energy. The heat pumps helps us to use both this heat as well as cold energy. That is how the heat pump works. So I'll just give you a small scenario on how you can use it in your facility. Just assume that you have a AHU unit in your facility which is being run using steam, and you also have a small chiller there which is used for some of your processes. So obviously the steam from the boiler is used to heat the AHU coil, and the chilled water and the chiller is also cooled using a cooling tower. So when you put up a heat pump, what happens is that you can use the hot side of the heat pump to heat your AHU coils, while as the cold side can be connected with your chiller so that the load on the chiller is reduced, and as a result of which the load of the cooling tower is also reduced, thereby saving water from evaporation. So with the simple installation of the heat pump, you are cutting your requirement for hot water boiler, as well as you're reducing the load on a chiller. So one heat pump is able to save water, reduce your fuel cost, as well as reduce the load on the chiller. So the main purpose of why heat pumps and heat recovery systems are better than traditional systems is because the cost of generating per kilowatt of energy is much lower. For example, if you're considering coal itself, the cost for generating per kilowatt of energy is 2.6 rupees, whereas heat pump is just 1.8, whereas heat recovery systems is just 0.1. And if you're using SKO or other any types of fuel, it will be much more higher than this. So last, I would be giving a small a solution called a steam trap monitoring system, which will help you to avoid any steam leaks in your facility. Why are steam leaks important? Because every year there are multiple steam traps. It is located across any facility, and about 10 to 20% of them fail. It is very difficult to find them and take action at a time. For example, if you consider there's a steam trap with the orifice size of about 1.8 inch, you'll be assume that it is leaking. You'll be losing almost 23,000 kilograms of steam per month, which approximately amounts to about 66,000 rupees, and 26,000 liters of water is also being lost. So just to help, it is a small unit. The steam trap unit is a small unit, but identifying the leak and rectifying it will help to save massive amounts of energy. For example, currently most of the places, what happens is that people use temperature guns or thermal guns, look at the steam trap and identify whether it is leaking or not, which is tiresome and it takes a lot of time. So the steam trap monitoring device is very simple. You just have a thermocouple to install it on your inlet and outlet, and an AI system monitors the temperature continuously, takes the data, processes it, and alerts you in case there is any leak. And all this happens online, so which you can also see through your dashboard, through your PC or your smartphone, and start identifying what the issues are. And if there is any leak or any issues, it will be sending you alerts also. This is just a small example of how the system had helped the textile industry in saving cost. It detected a steam trap leak and identified the user, because of which they were able to save 2.4 lakh rupees, because they used to check the steam traps only once in a year. If we hadn't alerted it, the steam trap would be leaking for the next year. As a result of which, they were able to save money because of the earlier, faster information to the end user. So this is just a sample alert which go to all the end users if there is alert, just so it is easy for them to take action, for quick actions. So I would just like to conclude by saying that there are multiple opportunities which occur in order to save the thermal energy. So by using this opportunity, you can reduce your thermal energy, 30% of your thermal energy cost. And again, as I said in the first slide, it will amount to about 10% of your overall cost. But the thing is that there are multiple products available in wherever you search for it, but you have to engineer it properly to ensure that you can reap the maximum benefits from it. And I would like to conclude by saying this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ajay Balachandran, for the great presentation about energy efficiency in circular energy solutions in textiles. Thank you. Next, we are welcoming Ms. Dhwani Sunku, Head of Business Development, Growth and Partnership at USolar. USolar Clean Energy Solution is a solar developer in India that provides complete solar power solution for industrial, commercial, institutional, and residential clients. Thank you. Handing over to Mr. Dhwani Sunku.
Thank you, Mr. Ganesh, and thanks Abhishek and team for the opportunity to be a part of this event. I'm just going to share a quick presentation that talks about our solutions at USolar, as well as how the players in the textile industry can benefit from adopting solar energy. So we look at ourselves as solar energy partners for all of our clients, as well as upstream suppliers, and we have 10 years of experience, 10 plus as of today, in installing, developing, and as well as technical consulting for solar power projects. We've executed 250 plus projects and have a portfolio of 170 megawatt peak. Diving straight into why solar is essential and what we do in this space. We have a very strong operations team, and we offer attractive financial models for players in the MSME segment to adopt clean energy. We will dive into this a little bit more at a later stage. Timely completion and safety and quality, since a lot of our projects are on premises on the rooftop, it's very essential for us to follow certain guidelines during the installation period, as well as during the asset management period, which is after the execution of a project. What we do, rooftop solar solution is our primary area of interest. We also execute ground mount solar projects within the facility if the space permits. BIPV solutions are building integrated photovoltaic solutions that can replace the material in a building, either glass or aluminum facading. We also get into battery storage solutions to improve the clean energy utilization or solar carports. So when a client approaches us with a problem statement, our first step is to understand what their energy consumption patterns are. So we cater to very specific, customized solutions based on those problems. We analyze the electricity bills, as well as the space available to the client. So this is done during the pre-engineering phase. Our technical consulting team will be able to understand what is the consumption pattern for that particular unit, and how much rooftop space is available. If you have a car park, what space availability is there. Of course, we're talking about shadow-free regions. Then we put together a layout and a commercial costing to that. At this stage, we will also understand what kind of financial models you're looking at. If an upfront capex is available, or if you're looking at some kind of financing support, these solutions are tied in along with the technical aspect, and we offer a proposal. Let's say a client closes the proposal. At this stage, we follow up on the detailed engineering process, where site visits are conducted. We start tying up with contractors, as well as the on-site personnel from the client's team, and execute a project management plan. Our first step is to evaluate the safety and risks aspect of every step of operations that are going to occur on site. And then we will get an approval on all of our drawings, and then the project management process continues. It takes about 2 months for us to install a project successfully. And post that, we will do the testing and commissioning for you to integrate the solar plant into your local electrical grid. Coming to the adoption models, as I mentioned earlier, CapEx is a straightforward purchase. The upfront cost for the entire project is paid, and the client receives an ROI within 3 years. The 7 years is typically for a BIPV or a storage solution. So 3 years, you receive your in return on your investment, and the life of a solar plant is 25 years. So essentially, for 20 plus years, you're utilizing free energy at your site. And that's a massive benefit in terms of your business, as well as, of course, the sustainability angle, wherein throughout the lifetime of the energy production, you have zero carbon footprint. What we also offer is an EMI solution. This is a deferred payment option. We have tied up with multiple financing institutions that will be able to, support through specific programs. The process to apply for these EMI options will be detailed out during the technical consulting stage. You may receive an interest rate of between 8 to 11%, depending on the due diligence process. So typically, we will have to assess the balance sheet of a company alongside the technical evaluation that will be undertaken for every single project. And then we will be able to offer very specific and customized, even in the sense of what capabilities you're able to take on your balance sheet in terms of debt, or not being able to provide security for the loan. Various options will be put together, and we give you the best one. Further to this, we even extend our support in the application process for the loans, since we already have pre-existing tie-ups with our lenders to the end of the execution period. So these loans typically vary from 3 to 5 years, and similarly within that loan period you break even. So the EMI payment is typically matched to the electricity bill payment, so you do not suffer in terms of your business operations, but post the loan is completed, you own the asset. Coming into project management, of course, this is an important step. We have pan-India operations, and we're able to utilize a hub and spoke methodology to execute our projects. So the hub is Bangalore, and every central project manager is based out of here. They're able to take approvals very quickly and liaise with both site personnel as well as our suppliers to ensure that the lead times are met. We're also very strict on having quick turnaround times for projects, along with following safety standards as per the International Financial Corporation. This is because we work with very large MNCs that require us to follow these standards, and we've integrated it into the fabric of the company. We're also able to cater to very unique design requirements depending on particular states or grid specifications. So that will be evaluated during the detail engineering stage for each project. Coming to our post-sales services, post-commissioning services and asset management is also done in-house. This means we can do a turnkey solution from evaluating the size of solar required to maintaining the asset till the end of a life. We will be able to get into an operations and maintenance contract once the project is commissioned and help you yield out the maximum benefit from the solar power plant. So each site will have a dedicated safety officer. We will regularly monitor, we have a safety checklist that is ensured to be followed. So that will be monitored and reported. Our EHS team is separate to the projects team. So essentially the EHS team is auditing the projects team while they are on your facility. We also have mandatory training sessions. The picture you see on the left is one of those sessions that are being conducted at a site. We follow the measurement of safety and risk assessment strategy prior to, let's say, unloading material, placing modules on the rooftop. All the risks are laid out, and the strategy of abatement is detailed in that process as well. And this helps us minimize. I would say actually we won awards for zero incidents during the lifetime of a project for multiple of them. And asset management is also crucial. Once an operations and maintenance contract is granted to us, we ensure that the yield is at a guaranteed and a high level. This is done through predictive maintenance as well as performance monitoring. So both of this is done on a scheduled pattern, and we have a team across the country to cater to multiple of our sites. I'd like to talk about a few case studies. So we worked with Madura Coats. They're a very large textile manufacturer in Tamil Nadu. They're a long and continuing client of ours. We started our relationship around 2015 and did EPC for some of their projects. As of today, we have a portfolio of 3.5 megawatt executed with them and continuing to help them in their sustainable energy transition. We, study their load requirements, assess which roofs are feasible for them to place modules, look at the load bearing capacity, help them in evaluate which roof may need replacement or upgrades. And of course, they do benefit financially, but we also help them track the carbon offset that has been achieved through the execution of these projects. Gokuldas Exports is another one of our clients in Karnataka. We've installed a 400 kilowatt peak plant at their Mysore unit. And, similarly, this is done in a different format, but we continue to work with them in their sustainable energy transition. So that's it about us. We're happy to, get in touch with anybody who would require these services, either technical consulting, EPC, or O&M. And thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Tawani Sunku, for your great presentation about solar power solutions. So now it's time to get the questions from the audiences.
Yeah, I would just request all the panelists to please turn on your videos. And in the Q&A, I can see there are some questions which are already there. Yeah, Dr. Vinay, I request you to join the next session. Yeah, thank you. This is all the panelists for the energy session.
Thank you, Mr. Abhishek Chani. Yeah, actually, there is a question, about the energy savings.
Yeah.
In our factory, we have.
Sorry, Mr. Ganesh, your video is not on, sir. And I think Dhwani, even your video is not on right now.
Yes, Abhishek, I think it needs to be turned on by the host. I don't have access to it.
I think, you have to start it, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I think Fiber to Fashion team will just do that.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Same for Dhwani. Yes, sir. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So in our factory, we have made various, we have put various efforts to reduce the energy consumptions, like, installing LED lights, and we have installed individual switches, for every lights, and all our machines are installed with servo motors, which takes less energy and, which produce less carbon emissions. And also all our compressor, we set up, pressure reducer bars to take less energies. And, we take a lot of initiatives. We have a energy metering. In every floor, there are 3 floors basically. In every floor we have energy meter monitoring. So we always take a logs, in the everyday morning to check, how our energy is going on, where we are consuming more, where we are, consuming less. And when it is, we have a slab always, for lighting, for ironing, or for sewing, for laboratories, for cutting department. So everywhere we have a kind of a slab, we fix it so to control the energy uses. So we always monitor every morning, and we have a person to monitor it and to find out why it is going high, and what we need to do. So this is the way we normally do to control this energy savings. Thank you very much. And we have achieved, in our factory, we are almost saving 53% of energy saving, every day. So by doing all this kind of small things, this any factory can do it actually. Thank you very much.
So that's incredible. So you would clearly say that there is actually not only the benefit to the environment, but even to the business.
Yes, of course. You are saving a lot of the cost. When you have the energy meters, you can always say that what is your production, what is your energy cost. So it is, when you do, basically to the environmental things, you always get back the money, in 2 years you get back the money, and, and later on everything, whatever comes, it's all profit. So this is, only first time investment, and later on you get a lot of returns, and also, from the customers, we get a lot of, accreditations, like, a lot of appreciations. Every day we are getting it, for all, even all small initiatives.
Amazing, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. So now we have a question for Dawani Sunku. Can you please, do you have just a moment? Sorry. Just a moment. Sorry.
Sure. So I've seen a couple of questions. I'm just going to broadly answer them. I've been typing out the answers.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking for it. Yeah.
Sure. Somebody asked me about the cost and area availability.
Yes. Yeah.
Typically, the cost runs about 4 to 4.5 CR per megawatt. And the area, the thumb rule is 1 kilowatt peak requires 10 square meters. So, for a 1 megawatt peak, that would be 1,000 square meters. However, before really assigning costs and everything, we always go through the process of technical consulting, because specifically in rooftop projects, each unit is very unique. There is no cookie cutter solution for rooftop projects. So we will evaluate the electricity bills for 3 to 6 months, as well as, with the Google Map location and coordinates, we put together a layout for that specific roof and draw the, BOM and costing accordingly. So it may be lesser than 4 crore per megawatt peak. It may be lesser area required than the standard thumb rule, or it may be more depending on your unit. So we always go through this process to put together the actual costing to send to the client. Somebody has also asked me what is the payback period in case of solar system. Sorry for not mentioning this during the presentation, but it's a very good payback. The life of a solar plant is 25 years, and you can receive your payback within 4 to 5 years. So essentially, you're utilizing 20 years free electricity. Another question from Sijoy is, for Tamil Nadu, electricity buyback is available. Yes. So just to explore the concept a little bit more, I think what he's asking is in terms of the net metering. So there is an availability in most states in India to export excess power back to the grid. Most manufacturing units do not function on Saturday, Sunday, national holidays. So on these days, the solar power plant is still producing energy, right? You cannot stop that. However, you can export that power back to the grid. What happens is that the next month, you will receive a rebate from the government. So the export tariff is typically between 2 to 3 rupees, depending on that state's policy. In Tamil Nadu, it's 2.5. Next month you receive that much offset on your bill. You do not get cash back from the DISCOM, but you receive a reduction in your total energy tariff.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Ganesh, there is another question, I think somewhat linked for you.
Yes.
Have your initiatives helped reduce your CMT costs, your sustainability initiatives?
Sustainable initiatives, in the long time run, you can get, in the long time run, you can get it. But, in the short time, you cannot plan it. Maybe after 2 or 3 years, I think, you can start cutting off the things. Because the overheads, it's basically not CMT, the CMT is into the product. I think we cannot combine both things together. So there are overheads. We are talking about overheads, like, electricity, water consumptions. So basically, we can talk about overheads. It's not CMT. The CMT is, going to be same. But, anyway, in the factory, there are many occupants, as I said, factory. we have various water efficiency things which can, reduce the, the cost of the government. That way we can say, it's not that, directly on the CMT, but it is, all these environmental changes, what we made is impacting in the overheads. So like, the overheads of the government is like, say, like 10 rupees per government. But, after making this repeated, regular, changes in the environmental things, the cost is getting reduced by like 20-25%. Yeah.
That's quite significant, sir. That's quite significant. Thank you. So there is one question for Mr. Ajay. The question was that in a small unit, somebody has got a small unit, and whether it is possible to use some of the solutions you'd highlighted for a small unit as well.
Mr. Abhishek, what we have to do is that primarily we have to go and study the unit, and we have to see, is it wise to invest? And because investing is okay, but we should also get the return on it, right? So you have to go and study it and analyze it, and then we'll be able to say, okay, whether it is wise to invest this or go for some other solution which is much more appropriate for it. So that we have to study and only be able to decide it.
So after this webinar, sir, we can connect them to you.
Yeah, sure.
For the study. Yeah, great. One more question, which I think has come for Dhwani, is Ms. Sunku, if we calculate LCOE and life cycle cost for the round-the-clock energy, what is the per unit cost and total cost? Would it be possible for you to share now, or?
This is a bit of a complex question. Round-the-clock energy typically means that you're able to supply power throughout day and night time, which means it will be a solar plant with wind or with storage, definitely with storage. So this is usually not done for distributed renewable energy like rooftop power plants or carports. It's done at 100 of megawatt scale. So it really depends on what quantum of power also you're extracting from that plant. So these contracts vary from 10 megawatt to 20 megawatt. So it really depends on the source that is involved in the round the clock and how much quantum you require, pull out. Tariffs move between 3 to 4 rupees, again, depending on various, sources, and like I mentioned.
Great. And I think there was a question you might have already typed in the answer for that, just for the benefit of those who are not reading the Q&A. Dhwani, there's a question around end of the life. Is there any inputs or supports that your company can provide?
Yeah, this is a very important subject in the solar industry, because you're not really sustainable if you're still creating waste, especially the type of waste that the solar industry produces is e-waste, and that's very harmful. So the government of India, as well as some other stakeholders in the industry, are working towards creating ERP. That's responsibility to the manufacturer at the end of the life. So this policy is officially not rolled out yet, because we don't have a single power plant that has exceeded its lifetime. The industry itself is quite young, but we do see a lot of progress in this space. And I foresee within the next 5 years or so, we will definitely have a policy and structure where, corporates, developers like ourselves, as well as the manufacturer, work together to ensure that these panels are recycled and upcycled.
Great, thank you. And a final question to all three of you, very quickly. Associated with your solutions that you've either implemented, or in the case of SAGS apparel, they're already operational there. Are you able to measure the greenhouse gas emissions? I think in Mr. Ganesh's presentation, we saw it. And do you provide that service? This is for Ajay and for Dhwani. Do you provide that service to your customers of GHG emission measurement?
Yes, definitely. This is done at no cost, because that's the primary reason we're in this business. There are two ways to go about it. One is by digitizing your asset and creating a digital twin. You can actually measure inputs and outputs, not only of power, but we work with Johnson Controls that does, they have a platform called the Open Blue that helps you move towards your net zero goals. You can even track water, you can even track heat. There are various aspects that can digitize your entire plant. However, that's very expensive, right? So what we offer is we can track your energy usage. We will track, how much solar is being produced, and we have a calculator in-house that can give you these numbers on a quarterly, yearly, or monthly basis. As the client requests, we just send it across.
Super, thank you. Ajay?
Yeah, I would like to add that all the solutions what we do, right, all come with a digital layer, which means that all the parameters of the solution of the machine, wherever we install it, can be tracked easily. So all this has been designed with the end user in mind, so that the end user or the customer they can view and see what is all the value, whatever is going, the client can easily monitor it. So there is no help anybody with that. And apart from that, because of this, so this question, what Abhishek, what you asked, right? What everybody is asking, like, how can you measure something? So as Dhwani said, everything is in terms of IoT and anything digital is expensive. So we separately started a data section just to help customers with getting a value-sized package for anything digital. If they want to monitor something, they can easily do that. So because of that, we are able to help a lot of people.
Amazing, sir. And finally, Mr. Ganesh, at Saks Apparels, how are you measuring it, sir?
So we have a green consultant, called Conserve. They are the one, they conduct audits, periodically to, measure how much carbon emission is, saved actually. So, in September, 15th of September, we are going to launch a new facility, which will be the Asia's first factory, to achieve LEED zero. So in all forms. So LEED zero in energy, water, waste, and carbon. So we are looking forward to launch on September 15th. So with the help of our consultant, we are doing the carbon. Yeah.
That is incredibly inspiring, sir. And I think that can motivate a lot of people. It just shows that, even at an SME scale, it is possible. And you're actually championing the whole sustainability space across Asia, which is incredible. So congratulations, sir. Wish you all the success with that implementation. And with that, due to the paucity of time, I would like to conclude the session, and I would like to thank our session chair, Mr. Ganesh Anantaraman, Ms. Dhwani Sunku, Mr. Ajay Balachandran. Thank you so much for your great contribution and for inspiring people and also sharing very practical solutions here. There have quite a few questions and emails that we are getting of people wanting to connect with you. And just for the attendees who have shared that, we will be, after the webinar, sharing the details and getting the feedback to the solution providers. And hopefully they can directly address them. If there is an interest, of course, that's fantastic. That is one of the objectives of this webinar, to get more sustainability solutions being adopted in a practical way. So thank you so much all for your invaluable contribution. And with that, we conclude this session, and I hand over back to Shilpi from Fiber to Fashion for our final and concluding session.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ganesh, for chairing the session. And I would also like to thank Ms. Dhwani and Mr. Ajay for the contribution. Conservation is crucial not only for sustainability, but in the long run, it can also provide economic benefits to the business.